There's a version of you that's exhausted, not from working too hard, not from too little sleep, but from something far more subtle. The constant, invisible labor of being exactly who everyone needs you to be. You've been performing, maybe for years, maybe for so long that you forgot there was ever a stage. And here's what no one tells you. The performance doesn't always look like pretending. Sometimes it looks like being very good at being you. Except it isn't really you at all.
Do you remember the first time someone smiled at you because you handled things well? Maybe you were young. Maybe someone in the room was upset and you said the right thing, or stayed quiet at the right moment, or smiled when you didn't feel like smiling. And something shifted in the air. The tension softened. The room breathed easier. And you learned something in that moment, not in words, but in your body, in the way warmth flooded back into a cold space, that being manageable kept you safe. You didn't choose this role consciously. That's the part worth sitting with. No one handed you a script and said, this is who you should be. It was quieter than that. It was a series of small moments, a look of approval here, a withdrawal of affection there, that slowly, without ceremony, taught you what version of yourself the world rewarded. So you became that version. You refined it, polished it, wore it so well that even you couldn't see where the costume ended and the person began. And for a while, maybe a long while, it worked.
Here's what the performance actually looks like from the inside. It looks like monitoring, constantly reading the emotional temperature of every room you enter, adjusting your tone before you've even said a word, softening your truth because you can feel, almost in your chest, that someone isn't ready to hold it. It looks like answering, "I'm fine," not because you are, but because you've learned that the full answer is too much, too heavy, too inconvenient. It looks like laughing a beat too quickly, agreeing when something quiet inside you resists, shrinking the parts of yourself that take up space others aren't comfortable sharing. You may have felt this in moments when someone asked how you were, really asked, and you felt a strange panic. Not because you didn't know, but because you did. And the truth felt dangerous to say out loud. This is the weight of a performed life. It doesn't crush you all at once. It's more like erosion, like water slowly wearing down stone. So gradually, you only notice the change when you look back and realize something essential has gone missing. The exhaustion isn't from doing too much. It's from being two people at once. The one on display and the one waiting quietly behind a door that almost never opens.
At some point, something shifts. It's rarely dramatic. It doesn't often arrive as a breakdown or a revelation. It arrives in the ordinary. A Tuesday afternoon, a casual conversation, a moment where someone laughs at something you said, and you feel nothing. Not sadness, not joy, just a strange hollow echo.
Or maybe it arrives as anger, a flash of feeling so out of proportion to what happened that it frightens you. Because underneath the anger is grief. The grief of someone who has been invisible inside their own life. This is the moment the shadow comes forward. Carl Jung spoke of the shadow as the parts of ourselves we've buried, not because they are bad, but because at some point they weren't safe to show. The too much of you, the uncertain you, the you that needs without apologizing, the you that disagrees, that disappoints, that doesn't always have it together. The shadow doesn't disappear because you perform over it. It waits. And then one day, in a tired, unguarded moment, you catch a glimpse of it. And it looks less like a monster and more like someone who has been waiting a very long time to be let back in. The question that lingers there is almost too simple to hold. Who would you be if you stopped performing for just one day?
Stopping the performance doesn't feel the way you might expect. It isn't triumphant. It doesn't arrive with clarity and open windows and sudden peace. It's quieter than that, and stranger. It feels like relief and grief arriving at the same moment. Two things that shouldn't coexist, somehow sharing the same breath. Because when you stop performing, you grieve the years you spent doing it. You grieve the relationships that were built around a version of you that wasn't fully real. You grieve the things you never said, the needs you never voiced, the self you kept folded up and put away like something too delicate to risk. You may have felt this in moments when you let someone see something true about you, a fear, a struggle, a need, and they didn't leave. And instead of relief, you felt a sudden disorienting sadness because it reminded you how long you'd been certain they would. That sadness is not a sign that something is wrong. It is the sound of a very old defense finally releasing. The self that emerges after the performance ends is not louder or braver or more certain. It is softer, more honest, willing to be seen, even in the places that aren't polished or resolved. It is you, without the stage lighting. And there is something that is very hard to name, but very easy to feel, that is simply right about that.